Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. We are playing AI generated magic with Urza's AI.
That's right. We've input the set name Knight of the Grizzly Squirrels and generated 120 cards.
Even though you normally play sealed with like 90 cards each, we figured 60 cards each would be fine since the AI generates a pretty narrow band of colors when you input a single name like we did.
That's right. We've tried this before with 45 each, but then it didn't feel like you were really doing much deck building.
Exactly. If you were actually drafting, then you would have the ability to, curate your collection of cards before you start building your deck.
But with the deck builder generating packs for us from Urza's AI, we don't really have much input, meaning we want a larger pool of cards to choose between.
It makes perfect sense when you think about it.
So, with that out of the way, we are going to be starting building our decks, which might take a little bit of time, so please enjoy the advertisements.
Advertisements. This is a very silly way of saying it. Alright, we will see you on the other side.
Alright, what do I have in my pool here? Wild Hunt Spider, that's a terrifying spider. 3 mana 1/1 with reach. What does this say? Whenever Wild Hunt Spider blocks a creature with flying, gets +2/+2 until end of turn. Kind of a disappointing card. I mean, it could just as well have been a 3 mana 3/3 with reach, but oh well. Scatter Smatter is a 2 mana instant. Create a token that's a copy of target creature. To copy a creature, you may cast it twice. The first spell becomes a token. That's not exactly how that works. I'm not sure if we should acknowledge the reminder text or not. Bear is a 1 mana instant. Create a 1/1 green squirrel creature token. It has when this creature dies, you may return it to the battlefield tapped and attacking. I'm pretty sure that since it's a token, it shouldn't actually work. I'd have to talk to a rules judge about that. Hymn of Confluence is a 1 mana instant. Target player mills a card. Distribute 4 1/1 counters among 1 or 2 target creatures they control. Those creatures gain trample. This is a pretty good card. It's 4 1/1 counters for 1 mana, and all you have to do is mill a card, which might be an upside. Assemble the Wilds is a 2 mana instant. Put a 1/1 counter on up to 1 target creature. It gains trample until end of turn. It can deal excess damage. That's what trample means. It actually words it properly. Is that any good? Probably not. Rotwolf is a 4 mana wolf. For 1 mana, Rotwolf gets +1/+1. Unfortunately, this can be activated only once each turn, making it not very good. Ritual Werewolf is a 2 mana human werewolf. When Ritual Werewolf enters the battlefield, draw a card. Daybound. If a player casts no spell during their own turn, it becomes night next turn. That's a truncated version of what Daybound means, but oh well. The implication is that there is a second half to this card that wasn't generated. Still not a bad card though. Let's keep it in the reserve. Shielding Blade is a 3 mana instant. You may cast Shielding Blade as though it had flash. Shielding Blade deals 3 damage to any target. Not very good, but sometimes you need removal at any cost in Limited. Ferocious Squirrel is a 2-mana 2/2. Whenever Ferocious Squirrel becomes blocked, it gets +2/+2 until end of turn. Not bad, honestly. A relatively difficult thing to block. Sage of the Scorn is a 2-mana 2/1 Squirrel Warrior. When Sage of the Scorn enters the battlefield, put a 1/1 counter on each squirrel you control. There's our squirrel tribal payoff that we're hoping for. The question really is, can we go full squirrel tribal? Infestation is a 3-mana. Destroy target non-basic land you don't control. Now that's probably not very useful because the deck builder rarely makes lands, even though it technically can. It can, however, escape, which is pretty useful if the card itself was useful, which it is not. Calm Forests destroys all enchantments. Again, decent if there are enchantments in this game, but it seems unlikely. Hideous End is a 5-mana sorcery. Destroy target non-creature artifact. Then put a 1/1 counter on up to 1 target creature you control. Pretty bad. Wallow Mimic is a 2-mana insect. It has Defender, and when Wallow Mimic enters the battlefield, you may destroy target creature with Defender. Interesting card. I quite like it, although I doubt we'll see Defender. Then again, this card has it, so who knows? Undergrowth / something else. It is an instant with no card text. That's not a thing. That's very funny to me. Glare of the Squirrel is a 4-mana bear. It's a 2/2 and nothing else. Iridescent Spitting Spider is a 3-mana 3/3 with reach. What did I tell you? For 2-mana, target creature can't be blocked this turn. It can block creatures with flying, however. I'm going to read that reminder text as additional, even though it doesn't make any sense. Let's look back at Scatter Smatter once again. Create a token that's a copy of target creature. To copy a creature, you may cast it twice. The first spell becomes a token. That's just not actually how that works. I guess if you were copying a creature spell on the stack, that would be different, but that's not what it's saying. Night Watch Lieutenant is a human werewolf at the beginning of each upkeep. This may be transformed, but we don't know what it transforms into. Safe Right Shield is a 4-mana instant. You may return Safe Right Shield from your graveyard to your hand. That's not useful in any way, and might not even work. Hoppy Squirrel is a 1-mana 1/1 bear. When Hoppy Squirrel enters the battlefield, look at the top 4 cards of your library. Put one of them into your hand. That's actually quite good. Far-Fetched Spider is a 3-mana 1/3 spider with reach. Pretty bad, but I might need reach, who knows? Oaksmith Squirrel is a 2-mana squirrel. It's only a 1/1, but you can spend a green, sacrifice a land, and create a 1/1 green squirrel creature token. That's potentially very powerful. Crushing Centaurs is a 5-mana centaur shaman. They are a 4/3 with whenever Crushing Centaurs attacks, defending player gains 4 life. Whenever you cast a shaman spell that targets Crushing Centaurs, you may gain 4 life. It's pretty useless, but not the worst card we've seen. I'm thinking I should probably stop narrating or this will take far too long, so apologies. I just have to say, this card was looking really good until that last line. I actually just realized it makes an infinite combo and immediately kills you. You see, Grizzly Bears, a 1-mana 1/1 says whenever Grizzly Bears deals damage to a player, put a 1/1 counter on it. When you put a 1/1 counter on a creature you control, Grizzly Bears deals 1 damage to that creature's controller, which of course would mean it was dealing damage to a player, and it would put another 1/1 counter on itself. This would go forever. Unless you could somehow break the chain and have a massive creature. But most likely, you'd just ping yourself to death, making it pretty useless. It's a Squirrel Shaman. 3-mana 2/3 at the beginning of your upkeep. If you control a forest, you may have target squirrel you control gain Death Touch until end of turn. I wouldn't say it's the most broken card, but it is quite good. I have to be honest, I expected this to be maybe green-black, but so far they've all been mono-green. Now this is a powerful card. Quite looking forward to using that one. I feel like because it's green we're seeing a lot of ramp, but we're not necessarily ramping into anything. If I was going elf tribal, this would not be a bad card to include. I could see this being quite good in that situation. Now this is a card I really like the design of. 2 mana, look at the top 5 cards of your library. Put up to 2 green creature cards with power 2 or less from among them onto the battlefield. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. It's just really nice. If it was cumulatively 2 power, not super good, but just have to have 2 power. Doesn't even have a restriction on mana value, so you could have like a 2/6 or something. Really, really like this one. Now, this is an interesting card. Let's ignore the fact that Jace apparently got turned into a squirrel and for some reason thought that was quite the triumphant act. But it is a 2 mana 2/1 with trample, but more importantly it says, when Jace Triumphant enters the battlefield, exile up to 1 target non-land card from a graveyard. You may put that card on top of its owner's library. This is a really interesting effect that I don't think I've seen before. It gives you the option of either returning something from your own graveyard next time you draw a card, or slowing down your opponent by forcing their next draw to be something relatively useless. It's really interesting. I feel like I've seen this effect before in, like, an unset or something. It says, for 2 mana, change the text of target permanent by replacing an instance of one color word with another or one basic land type with another. For example. Then it goes on to say, for some reason, a completely different effect, such as, for example, you may change target permanent's mana cost, which is not a word, to 2, which is not a color word, and its text to 1. Clearly this example makes no sense, invalidating the entire card. If you do untap it, this effect can't change its mana value. If a land becomes a permanent you control, it's still a land. We are almost at the end, so I think I might as well talk about the rest of the cards. This is a 2 mana 1/1 that can tap to become a 2/2. It's pretty bad, but I might need more squirrels. It's hard to say. Dead End is a 4 mana instant. Destroy target creature, and target creature you control fights. It's 4 mana, but probably worth it. Golden Squirrel is a 1 mana 1/1. Good in my books. We're making 40 card decks. I don't think I mentioned that previously. Which means that this amount of cards is already enough. Despite how interesting these cards over here were, we don't need to dip our toes into non-squirrels, which is lovely. Honestly, we don't have very much squirrel tribal, so it's probably not a big deal, but either way. The question becomes, should I cut some cards from these? I feel like I've been being mana flooded a lot recently, and a lot of these cards don't actually require very much mana, so I think I might just use a simple 15 instead of my usual 17. That's perfect. So, with that out of the way, we should probably look over to what my friend here has been doing.
What, are you saying it's my turn? My turn to do things? Alright, let's take a look at these cards. Alright, what do we have? A fire-breathing bear! Wow! He's a 1 mana 1/1. Whenever you cast a spell that targets this, it gets exiled from your graveyard. What does that mean? When Fire Breathing Bear dies, it deals a damage to each opponent. That's not bad, I don't think, but the first line might actually invalidate the entire card. So let's just set it aside for now. What I found is really important when you're doing stuff with AI cards like this is unless a card is like super good, maybe just set a card aside and don't worry about if it's valid or not unless you need it. Fanged Horn, 2 mana instant. Target creature you control gets trample, and then gets +X/+X. X is the number of creatures you control. That could be pretty strong, but not necessarily. The Thundering Glare Bear. Oh, Glare Beard. Oh. A 3 mana 2/3, it's got Death Touch, it's pretty good so far. If a source would deal damage to you, or a permanent you control, prevent that damage and put a 1/1 counter on Thundering Glare Bear. Wait a minute. This is broken. This is just the best card in the world? You have to remove this with, like, actual removal. Oh, I don't think they can deal with that. Are we going bears? It's supposed to be a squirrel set, but maybe we will. Alright, I'm going to start focusing on actually building this deck, so I will see you momentarily. That right there, that's a pretty good card. He's a 1 mana 1/1 elf that taps for a green. It's, you know, it's pretty good. Unless it somehow stops being an elf, in which case it loses that ability, but what are the odds of something like that happening? Yeah, it's just a better version of Llanowar elves. Perfect. Yeah. Wait a minute. Are we doing Wolf Tribal now? I was really excited about this bear, but Wolf Tribal seems pretty good. Looks like we've got 3 different tribes so far. Oh, and we haven't even seen a squirrel yet. Let's take a look at this squirrel. Hazardous Retainer. Squirrel Shaman. 3 mana 3/2. Enters the battlefield, exile up to 1 target non-creature permanent you own. Non-creature permanent, like a land? You may play lands and cast spells from among lands. Add spells exiled with Hazardous Returners. Wait a minute, so you're saying ETB put a thing back in my hand, basically. That's not terrible, but probably not good enough. Oh, really? You're gonna come here and tell me this is an elvish archdruid? Can't even make them an elf? Come on now. Not that we really have any elf tribal at the moment, but would be kind of cool if we did. Elf squirrel. What does that even look like? I don't even know. Now here's the question. Do we think that we are going to have a, how do you say, any artifacts or enchantments? I'm not entirely sure if that's something we need to worry about. He's still a 2 mana 2/3 with trample though, so pretty good. Whoa, what's this? The Will of the Wild. A 2 mana 2/2. Whenever you cast a spell, target squirrel gets 1/1 until end of turn. That's pretty good right there, actually. Actually pretty good. Yeah, it's any spell. It doesn't have to be non-creature or anything like that. Well, this effect is just completely useless. It was useless before the last sentence where it became even more useless. Let's take a look at this card. Grizzly Harvest Squirrel, a 2 mana 1/1 squirrel. Whenever a Grizzly Harvest Squirrel becomes blocked by a creature, that creature doesn't untap during its controller's untap step. Now let's just talk about that. Unless it taps itself, like, after blocking you, that's not really a big deal. You can't block someone if you're already tapped, so probably never going to come up. But then it goes on to say, doesn't untap during its controller's untap step for as long as Grizzly Harvest Squirrel is blocking it. It can't still be blocking it during its untap step. It's completely useless. What is this card? Oh, now this is kind of interesting. 5 mana for a 3/3 is probably too expensive, but I wonder if we're going to see any more 3 folks. I hadn't really considered that. That sounds pretty cool if you ask me. What is this? This is like that other one, but it not just any spell, it's like has to be a squirrel. No, it just has to be a creature. A creature that's 1 or more colors. Well, I don't think there are any colorless creatures in this deck, so that is still basically any creature spell, so not terrible, but could be a lot better, I suppose. Could be a lot worse too. I mean, it could have been like that is 2 or more colors, and then what are you going to do? Okay, now this is a pretty cool effect. It's a 3 mana 2/3, so not terrible. It's a human werewolf for human tribal and werewolf tribal. But it then says, whenever a player cycles a card, if it's their 3rd time, they may return it to its owner's hand. Now that's like really interesting. I don't know if they're cycling in this set, but like if it was this, like that's a very cool effect to put in a cycling set. The 3rd time you cycle in the same turn, you get to put it back in your hand, but you still get the effect of the cycling. Like, that's a pretty cool. Okay, wait a minute. I need a rules judge for this one. It's a 2 mana 1/1 that says, when this dies, you may have it fight target creature you don't control. If it's dead, does it have the time to do so? Or is it already dead? I mean, if something is dead, you can't activate, like, ping abilities and stuff, right? So, probably not, but I'm not entirely sure. I love the flavor on it, though. It's a really cool idea that, like, when it dies, it goes out with a fight. It could have just said it deals its damage. Well, actually, let's talk about that, right? Like, if something said, when this dies, deal 2 damage to target creature. This is saying, when this dies, deals damage equal to your power to another creature. It deals damage back to you, but it doesn't really matter. It's just kind of flavor that it's fighting. I think this card works perfectly fine, actually. Still not, like, good, though. But, like, yeah, well, what do you want to do? You know, this card is not too bad, actually. It's like a 1 mana 1/1, and when it dies, you make a 1/1. Now, you have to actually sacrifice it, but you can do that in response to it dying. It's just, unfortunately, not going to get like a 2-for-1, where it trades with a 1-1 and it makes another body. So it could be a lot better, but it's not terrible. It is, however, an insect, so it doesn't go with our cool bears over here. Although I don't actually know if we have any bear tribal. We really don't. We don't have bear tribal. I'm just sorting them in case it happens, I guess. Now this is what I'm talking about. A 2-mana 3/3 and it's a wolf. We care about wolves. Can we get a wolf deck? Ho 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 ho! This is looking good. Ho ho ho! We got our bear tribal now! Bear spells cost 1 less to cast. That's going to be pretty good. I'm torn in a lot of different directions. I wonder how well my friend was able to do. Really sticking to a theme. Okay, wait a minute, we'll have to talk about this one. It says Soul of the Pack / Deathbringer's Fang. Then it says 2, and the rest of the mana cost is cut off. We could probably assume that this is like 2 and 1 green, but like, we would be making an assumption, and I'm not really that happy about doing that, so probably no matter how good this card is, we can't run it. But let's see if it's any good to start with. When Soul of the Pack enters the battlefield, exile up to 2 target cards from your graveyard. Okay. The beginning of each upkeep, if no spells were cast last turn, transform it. Yeah, I mean, it's just an overcasted 2/2. It is a tribe we care about because it is a werewolf, but other than that, not a big deal. I'll just put it in the discard pile. Wait a minute! Undergrowth Squirrel gets +1/+1 for each other squirrel you control. Oh, now that is some spicy play right there. Can we really play Squirrel and Bear and Wolf Tribal? I don't know if we can fit them all in one deck, but I can certainly try. That's an elf. I forgot our pile was elves. Now that is pretty good. Look at the flavor of this. You hear that coming? Watch out. It's coming soon. It is my creatures that have all been pumped with extra 1/1 counters. Or, there is a creature coming, let's get out of the way real quickly. Or, there is a creature coming, let it smash your little artifacts. Yeah, I like this card a lot. This card's really good. Wait a minute, is this an effect that we've seen before? Oh, this is really cool! Choose target creature you don't control. It fights up to 1 target creature you don't control. I mean, if this was a bear, it'd be even better, but it's still really cool. I like this card a lot. This is a really, really cool card. Now that's pretty good. Even if you're not playing like the squirrel deck, I think that's a worth running. Counter a spell, make a 2/2. Oh yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, I don't think this card is good, but I do want to talk about it. Fading Wild says until the end of the turn, whenever you have a land enter the battlefield. So, you know, probably like one, so like not very good. But if you could do multiple, could be really interesting if you had a landfall deck built around that. Whenever a land enters your battlefield under your control this turn, you may have it being the land, become a green squirrel. Which sounds bad generally, because then the squirrel like can die, it's not a land anymore. Maybe it's still a land, I'm not sure if it's still a land or not, because usually spells would say like, it's still a land, so I'm not sure. But then it says, when this creature dies, draw a card. So like, you could turn your lands into squirrels, but what you're really doing is turning their lands into like card draw. It's like giving all your lands cycling kind of, but like not really. It's a very cool card. Unfortunately, to cast it you have to destroy target enchantment, and I haven't seen any enchantments yet, so I don't know if they're in the set. This card seems really bad, but I haven't seen any flying yet, so 4 mana for a 2/2 that can only attack once every like 2 turns or something, and you have to pay 4 mana every time you wanted to attack again. Like this, it's pretty bad. I haven't really talked about it. It says 4 mana 2/2 with flying. When it attacks, return it to its owner's hand at the end of combat. So, like, it does get to do its damage, which is nice. And I guess if you could like blink it or something, like flicker it, then it wouldn't happen. And you could like play it again the same turn so that it doesn't have summoning sickness every 2 turns, but that's still spending 4 mana every turn to do this. It's bad. It's a really bad card, but if it's the only flying, it still might be pretty worth it. Who knows? I wish this thing had like a timing window. Like, I don't think this card's legal because it doesn't tell you when whenever you cast a creature spell, target creature token tokens. So I don't think that it works. It just needs to say like for the rest of the game or until end of turn. So probably an illegal card, but pretty cool if it wasn't. I just have to say, the name of this card is pretty good. That's quite the name right there. Adoredic Squirrelry. 1 mana instant. Create a 1/1 green squirrel creature token. It has sacrifices and green. Oh, I kind of like that. Like, it's not good, of course, but like, you know, it's like green mana is a squirrel. In the same way that like Eldrazi spawn are like colorless mana treasure. Did I say mana? I meant to say treasure. You know what I'm saying. Pretty cool. Hey, we finally got another elf. That's pretty cool. What's it do? Looks like a bear to me, but 1 mana 1/1, ETB, draw a card. Can't be blocked. You can sacrifice it. Oh, this beautiful card right there. I'd run that if I had more elves. I might still run it if I have the space. 4 mana, 3/3, get out of my sight. That might be worthwhile, I'm not entirely sure. Put it in the maybe pile. Okay, I know what I just said about the, what was it, like a 4 mana 3/3? This is a 5 mana 4/5, so like, not the worst thing, but like, you normally would never run this. I guess I'll put this in like a maybe wolf pile or something, I'm not entirely sure. If we need more wolves, we've got one more wolf. This card, we'll have to make sure we have 2 power or less creatures to play with it, but if we do, that's a pretty good card. I quite like that, yes. Cannot, it's quite good. Oh, another insect! Do we have insect tribal or just an insect? I think we just have a single insect so far. 3 mana 3/3 has reach in case somehow my opponent got a flag, even though I have not seen more than one so far. ETB, choose a creature type. Create a token that's a copy of target creature until end of turn. The creature type has nothing to do with anything. Create a token. The token is a copy of target creature until end of turn. After that, does it just go away? I'm not entirely sure what to say about this. I'm going to just ignore it for now. Whoa, I don't want to see that. Birthing squirrels, get out of here. Cast a creature spell, you may gain a life. I don't know. Oh, now that's a good looking werewolf right there. Nightwatch Lieutenant. Beginning of each upkeep, if no spells are cast, flip it. It's... Well, okay. I mean, it's a 1/1 for 1. That could be worse. Okay, now we are getting somewhere interesting. Aggressive Inheritance, 2 mana instant, choose a creature type, reveal cards in the top of their library, until you reveal a creature card of that type. Put that card onto the battlefield, the rest in the bottom of your library in random order. This just can tutor out anything. And, if I have like one really cool thing, and it's a unique creature type, like, I don't know, Grizzly. I saw a Grizzly earlier, I don't know if that's useful. We can guarantee what we're going to hit. Now this is a cool card right here. Oh, I'm very excited. I'm not sure what I'm going to use with that, but it's a very good, very cool card. Where did I put that Grizzly that I saw earlier? Grizzly, there they are. Massacre Rager. I mean, it's a very good card. Is it worth 5 mana? I'm not sure, but is it worth 2 mana? Now, I do like Hexproof. Hexproof is a very useful effect. I don't know if 4 mana is the appropriate price for such a thing. I'll put it in my maybe pile. Oh, a Mighty Squirrel. A 5 mana 2/3. We need the tax. You may search your library for a squirrel. Ooh. I mean, if I'm going Squirrel Tribal, is 5 mana worthwhile? That's the question. Now this is some very cool ramp. The question is, am I going to have a land in my graveyard to cheat out with the card? But 2 mana, put a land onto the battlefield, it's not even tapped, and you get to put a 1/1 counter on each creature. I love this card. I legitimately don't think I'm going to have any lands in my graveyard, but we're going to still try. I mean, if you wanted squirrels, it's not a terrible way of doing them. 2 mana, 2/1, pretty bad, but if you care about Squirrel Tribal, might be worth it. 3 mana creatures you control, get 1/1 until end of turn. It's not terrible, but it's not very good either. Human Shaman. Enters the battlefield, you may search your library for up to 3 land cards. Reveal them, put them into hand, and shuffle. Oh, actually, that's pretty good. I didn't realize how good that was at first, but that's quite nice. 1 mana, deal 1 damage to each creature you don't control. And cycling! Hey, there is cycling in this set, who knew? That's amazing. Alright. So, probably not amazing, but sometimes you just need to kill a bunch of squirrels, right? Am I right? There might be a bunch of 1/1 squirrels in my opponent's board, so... Oh, that's all the cards. Well, in that case, let's see what we can do. These cards, probably not. Now, the best tribe... Well, the tribe that has the most, like, players is the Squirrels. But I don't know if I actually can benefit from that. Like, do I have any Squirrels that are relevant? Like, if I've got 1 or 2 good Squirrels, I could maybe have them in my deck just for that 1 card that cheats out creature types. But, Squirrel Tribal. What's this? Whenever you cast a spell, create a squirrel. Oh, target squirrel gets +1 till end of turn. It's not amazing. Do you have something else that cares about squirrels? I don't see. Oh, yeah, get +1 for each other squirrel you control. That's pretty good, actually. But maybe a build around. Okay, I'm starting to think that maybe Squirrels is the right pick. Well, let's see. In that case, perhaps I want to choose like these 13 cards and these 8 cards. And now I just want a couple of really, really good cards over here. Belligerent Wolf, not good enough. Alright, so let's see. Humans, let's see. You are a 1 mana 1/1. You're not amazing. You are a 1 mana 1/1. You are not amazing. Wait, what's this card do? Against Trample, not a big deal. You are an elf. Draw a card, can't be blocked, sacrifice, not bad, but not amazing. Remember, here's the thing. Anything we are adding here is possibly to get cheated out. So they should be our big bombs that we really want to save the mana on. Now, the thing is, even if they're not very expensive, it still might be worthwhile because it is a tutor, you know what I'm saying? That card's really good. I might just include that because it's really good. Doesn't even care about elves, it just like is one. It's very great. Vigilance, bear spells. Oh, I really wanted to go bear tribal, but look at that. I've got like 4 bears. Not enough bears. 3 bears. Only 3 bears. Look at that. Sacrifice this bear to try enchantment. Okay. So 2 mana, 2/3 is pretty good. And 3 mana, 2/3 at that touch. This card, of course, is broken. Source would deal damage to a permanent. Just prevent it. I can't not play that into the deck. It's too good. What else do we have? Okay, beginning of each upkeep, no spells, it's a flip, it's just a wolf for the sake of wolf tribal. Can't be blocked by 1 or more creature. Not bad, the 2 mana 3/3 is a pretty good card. 3 mana 2/3, whenever a player cycles their 3rd card, that's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. A 2 mana 1/1, when it attacks, put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control. Oh, whenever you put a 1/1 counter on a wolf, you may have that creature fight. It doesn't have to hit wolves, it still hits all your creatures. I think that's very good. What was the other one I put here? Can't be blocked. It's pretty good, it's pretty good. Alright, so we're looking at 25 cards. You know what, I think that, oh, that's a pretty good card though. Target, oh, I love this card. It's so cool. I'll put that one in too. Alright, I think I might be doing badly at whittling down my cards. Deal combat damage to a player, he may return it to its owner's hand. It's also got haste. When it enters the battlefield, draw a card. Search your library for 3 lands. Like, that's pretty good for... It's not ramp, but it is, like, guaranteed that you have lands. This would be really good if I was playing a multicolored deck, but, as you can see, this is mono green. This pack was all green. It was a green pack. I guess we should have assumed that. 5 mana, 4/5. Alright. So, I need to cut a couple cards from this deck. The rest of these cards... I don't really know. What did my friend do? Alright. We'll just put these over here. Alright. Take a copy of the land here. Now, what can we do for this? I'm not entirely sure. Should we look at the color distribution, or what should we do? Elvish Art Druid. Once more. This card's not very good, but it is a squirrel, which is relevant, so I think we might as well keep it. Well, what is the worst squirrel you control? You have like 13 squirrels in this deck. That is quite a few squirrels, you're right. This card, pretty bad. Cut that one. Don't like it. Not very useful. When this enters the battlefield, draw a card. It's 4 mana. It is pretty good though. You can sacrifice all your lands to not die. I don't know where this theme of squirrels destroying forests is, but I kind of like the flavor for some reason. Like, I don't really understand the flavor, but I like it. The idea that, like, you can make more squirrels by chewing up your forests. They're an infestation. Don't you understand? You know, this card, not very good. 5 mana for a 4/4 and a pretty weak effect, but, well, I mean, honestly, it's, sometimes you just need a big creature, and the 4 is top of the line in limited right now. Might still be worth it. I think it's not, though. I'm going to cut it. The big creature we have is this friend right here. Creature spell, gain a life, not bad. Reach. Oh, discard a card. Now, do I have any squirrels I really want to find? I think well, I mean, there's this one. I suppose there is that one. But 5 mana! Wow. It's whenever it attacks, though. It's like every time it attacks. No, I think that's worthwhile. Tutoring squirrels is pretty good. +X until in turn where X number of creatures you control. I think I will be controlling a lot of creatures. The question is, I know there's another one that cares about, like, what do you call it? A 2/2 green squirrel. Oh, counter spell, yes, of course. You hear that coming, that's very good. Target creature gets +X/+0, where X is the number of cards in your hand. I don't think that's good enough. We will cut it out. And that will be our 23 cards. I think this is going to be a pretty good deck. So that took kind of a long time, because I am bad at the deck building quickly. How are you doing?
I finished my deck as well.
Well, very good. Let's just take a look to see if we can properly do